91. It is I, your host, Wise Papa Smurf, back. Last week I was gone, and apparently we talked about LaCroix, the carbonated water. I'm just judging from the title. I haven't listened to the episode. I'm sure everybody enjoyed it. But I'm not drinking that crap this week. Instead, I'm drinking pink lemonade, which brought me to an existential crisis. What is in this that makes it pink?
Pink lemons.
Yeah, I don't think that's right.
No, those are actually a thing. I've cooked with them before. I'm pretty sure.
'Cause I always just assumed it was the blood of our enemies.
Yeah, it's pink lemons.
Pink lemons?
It's a thing. I'm sending you a link right now.
This feels
Everybody,
like
look
I'm
at the
being
pink
trolled.
lemons. We're showing them right now.
Yeah, the
on the podcast.
variegated pink lemon, also called the variegated Eureka lemon or pink fleshed Eureka lemon.
But is that what makes pink lemonade?
Lemon has unique pink flesh, a green striped rind when ripening, and variegated foliage.
Well, I'll be damned.
And that concludes this episode of Gensos Reads Wikipedia Articles for Strange Fruits. Thank you for tuning in.
Huh. There really are pink lemons.
I don't think that's what's in your powder that you put in your drink.
Though. Well, you don't think Crystal Light splurges on real pink lemons?
From Burbank, California?
I'm just glad it's not a fucking grapefruit, because I hate that, and that would ruin it for me if... Yeah, I know, that's gross, man.
It's delicious. It's so good, man. And look at just look at the art in the can.
Yeah, the art looks nice, but it features a grapefruit.
I hate grapefruit.
There's like that's very few things that I just cannot do food-wise, right?
Most things in the melon family, I'm with you on.
No,
grapefruit I feel like falls in there.
Grapefruit sucks. I don't like it. And then the coconut, I am not a fan of. And people always ask, like, well, is it the flavor or is it the texture? And I'm like, it's both of those things, because coconuts fucking suck all around.
So growing up, I always went surfing, and surf wax, like, smells amazing. Like, it smells like you should be able to eat it. And I always tried to eat it when I was younger and older, and like I would like scrape it off my board with my finger, like put it in my mouth, and it'd always be a terrible idea because my feet are on it all the time, and just like nasty salt water's there. But coconut LaCroix tastes and smells like surf wax should taste in liquid form.
That's not a good sale. Like,
have you ever smelled surf wax?
I'm just saying, like, I'm not like, you know what? I need to go out and buy a pack of that shit. Like, let's go out and eat some surf wax. Like, I've always wanted. I'm pretty sure you're the only person that has like the fantasy of I want to eat surf wax. Like, I don't think that's a thing.
Like, I mean, like, I have at least like one other friend that said it smelled good.
Like, I watched a Lifetime thing for like strange addictions, and a lady liked to huff gas. And that strikes me as the same kind of, mental framework to which you find yourself in throughout.
Is that why people don't like coconut LaCroix?
I would imagine. Like, it's probably because it's coconut flavored. Are we talking about LaCroix twice in a podcast? Like, I wasn't even there last time, and we're talking about it again.
Any of us here last time?
I don't think so. This is completely fresh.
They can't have a whole other crew talking about fucking. They can't have 6 individual people talk about LaCroix on this godforsaken, forgotten by God podcast.
We can just make it the LaCroix Boys Part 2.
No, I already named it.
That's not something that should ever have a sequel.
I named the podcast after the secret ingredient of pink lemonade, and that's the blood of our enemies. That's what I already named it.
Unless something better comes up.
Well, obviously, if something better comes up, we pull an audible on that. But
yeah.
So far, it's the blood of our enemies, because that's what we are.
I think we peaked in the first 2 minutes of this one.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. It's all downhill from here. Listeners, if you go to the timestamp at the last 5 minutes, that's where we pick up steam again. So,
and maybe talk about League.
Yeah, we might get to it. So I actually do want to talk about League after I introduce you guys. Also with me are Gensos and Ponderous Sea Lion. Hey, guys.
Woo!
For all you slow listeners that hadn't figured that out yet.
Maybe it's their first time. We'll be gentle. It's fine.
Nice.
It's gross, Ponderous.
It's not gross. Just easing them into it. What's gross about that?
Yeah, you're just what's the word? Grooming them.
You're like 14, Ponderous. You can't talk about that.
Shut the fuck up. I was 14 when I was 14, and I'm not anymore.
You're like audio grooming minors
I could
right now.
join you for I could join you for a beer at any of the closed down bars in
They're
the
open in
greater
Colorado.
Oh,
Colorado
dude,
area.
they're open here. Just come over and
Yeah.
hang out.
Oh, okay.
Just wear your
Yeah.
mask and don't get up from your table.
No, we
That's
don't have
it.
masks here. This is for
No.
pussies. Because COVID's not real here,
We
apparently.
only have guns.
Yeah, we shoot the virus when we see it in
Mhm.
people that we don't like. So anyway, back to what I actually wanted to talk about. Shit, what was I going to talk about? Something about League. Oh
Solo
yeah,
queue.
yeah.
Smurfs.
So we actually had a discussion on the boosting episode a couple episodes ago about what is and is not boosting. And I wanted to be 100% clear. Like, to me, boosting is paying somebody to log on to your account and play games for you in order to inflate you to a certain elo. Or just have some, I mean, you don't have to pay them. I guess payment is, it could be voluntary or whatever, but generally it's having somebody play games in your stead to artificially increase your elo to whatever, right? Now, I wanted to mention that I don't think duoing with somebody that's really good is boosting. I don't think it is. I also don't think that, like, I think whenever you duo with somebody on a Smurf account, that is where it gets gray to me, right? Because
Yeah.
you're taking them in at an artificially
Well,
lower rank.
just to jump in here real quick, I will say that there are boosting sites that offer. Not that I know anything about boosting sites, but there are boosting sites that offer duo boosting as a service. Is that boosting?
Well, that's the thing is,
It's
I
literally called
I think that well, it's called boosting because that's an easy way to frame it, I think. But the question is like, is that wrong? Right? And I guess my point is this. What's the goal? If you're
Yeah.
duo boosting with somebody to try to get better and learn from them and you talk about like you dissect games together and it becomes like a coaching thing, then I don't see where that's wrong, right? But like, okay, so imagine it this way. Uh, you and I, Jinsos, are in a fight, right? And I
you would
weigh,
win easily.
I weigh 400 pounds of raw cut muscle. I have the body of a WWE wrestler,
100 pounds
and
of that is pure penis.
yeah, and 100 pounds is just swinging dong.
Yeah.
And you have just dong. That's it. Like you're 80 pounds of just dong, like you tiny little legs,
I'd
like a
still take that.
like a frog's body, but
I
with a
could make some money
huge
with that.
80-pound package. And so I know you're going to be useless in the fight, right? If I show up to this fight to literally beat the shit out of these people for you, then this is just boosting. If I show up at the fight and I'm like, hey, we're fighting together, you take that guy, I'll take these two, and then I'm like, hey, you need to swing your punch wide or you need to throw some kicks in there, and then you get better at fighting as a result, and that's the purpose, it's a different deal to me,
Oh yeah,
right?
100%. I think I just oh, excuse me. I think like the whole idea of any duo queue is not boosting is probably not true because there are boosters that are out there and do all that. But like I play on my alt account with people in the community and on off rolls, and like my alt account isn't like too much lower than my main account. Um, it has like similar MMR, but not really because I'm playing ADC on it and I'm not really good at ADC. So it's Ponderous. Did you shake your head like, wow, you're not good at ADC? Are you
No,
surprised by that?
that's your. It's all in your imagination.
No, okay, thanks, Ponderous. I'm actually really good at ADC. I should switch roles and immediately get to Diamond. But
Yes, you should.
but yeah, so I play with people in the community on that, and I don't think I never feel weird about it, and I don't think they ever feel weird about it because like if anything, I'm probably holding them back. I'm not playing with people that are iron and bronze. I'm playing with silvers and anybody that'll like is silver or above that will want to actually do it with me on that account because I usually don't do that well.
To,
So
yeah, and to throw in one more variable, I think that volume is also a factor because playing, 4 or 5 games with someone is not going to meaningfully affect their rank in any way. But if you're duo queuing with someone of a significantly lower skill level for like 50 games, then you start getting into the realm of where you could actually start seriously affecting their rank and their MMR. So I think volume is also something to keep in mind in
And
the conversation.
going along with Blake's thing on intention too, I think like if you're playing with somebody and they say, "Oh, just play Lulu and I'll play Twitch," or play Tarek mid and I'll play Yi, stuff like that. Like that's obvious like boosting strats.
Okay, by the way, if you're a funneler, I just wanted to let you know that there are women outside. You can just walk outside and talk to them. You don't have to funnel in League of Legends. They're everywhere. I swear to God. You can
Yeah.
just go out, get some sunlight,
You
stop playing
delusional ponderous.
Tareki. I'm just saying.
That's how I met
I'm
my
trying
wife.
to help them.
I will
I was
also
the
warn
Tarek.
them that there probably aren't women that aren't in their family that are in their home. The odds are like flip flopped there. You got like maybe a 1090 of that happening. So
Can I just shit talk funnelers for the
yeah,
rest of the
go
episode?
for it.
If
Let's
you
have that.
funnel or do any like stupid
Mm.
bullshit cheese strats in League to cheese like a couple tiers of elo, you're like you're not getting any fucking better at the game. People who play Yi Tarek are not getting better at League of Legends by doing that. You're just artificially inflating your elo. Don't do fucking stupid duo abuse strats. Like I when I play with Blake, even when I used to play Yi, he would only play enchanters like a fifth of the time, maybe. Like it's not like we're running Lulu Yi every game when I was playing Yi. And nowadays, like when I'm playing Tryndamere, he's not running Lulu or Tarek or any other bullshit. He's just running fucking mage supports because
I have
whatever. Like
to.
that's an interest. We can have that discussion
We are
in
gonna
a
have
little
that
bit.
discussion here in a minute
But like,
because
yeah,
like
don't cheese Elo. Like, just don't. It's so stupid. You're not getting any better at the game. And most people who funnel are genuinely really bad at the game.
well like so
Statistically
I
speaking, if you
do want
funnel,
to
you
talk
suck.
about yeah I do want to talk about that too because like whenever he's like you're not getting any better at the game, this is not like a bitterness thing. This is not like oh I hate stupid fucking funnelers. You guys all suck. It's not that.
I think that'll
It's
find
I
that
mean, it is that a little bit.
well
I just
okay
don't. I don't respect funnelers. That's what it is. But
okay
also, what you're about. I know what you're about to say, and that's also true.
okay. So what I'm about to say that's also true is this. It's that you're not improving your skill to win, you're taking advantage of your opponent's inability to deal with the shit you're pulling to win. And eventually that shit is going to stop working and then you're just going to lose a whole lot because you no longer have your crutch and you're trying to do something that you're not capable of keeping up with. Like you're not improving your mechanics, you're not improving your game knowledge, you're just taking advantage of the ignorance of whoever you're against, right?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so, I mean, that kind of sparks off into a whole nother thing of like, well, Blake, what about good low elo champions like a Moo and blah blah blah? And the reason that they're good is because the enemy doesn't know to invade. Well, like if you want to play a Moo and that's a good champion for you, play a Moo. You'll get better at jungling. You'll get better at a Moo. If you play a funnel, you'll get better at funneling, and that's it. Like
Yeah, I think
there's
that it's
you're not
intention.
like learning to play mid, you're just feeding someone else twice as many resources and then they're carrying.
Yeah.
And they're not even get better at carrying, they're getting better at carrying with an exorbitantly impossible to get otherwise gold lead, which is not real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's just like, I just think there are lots of picks, and funneling is the most obvious example. But like another example, I played against Tank Karma top lane the other day, and keep in mind that Tank Karma top, you take Grasp, you rush Tab. I was playing Tryndamere, you rush Tab Eyes, and you rush Glacial or Iceborne Gauntlet or whatever. And the whole purpose of it is that Tryndamere or pretty much any AD bruiser has zero kill pressure in that lane, zero all game. You'll pretty much never be able to kill that champion because they have too much disengage, too much kiting. But the other thing is that they scale into nothing. They scale into absolutely nothing. The only thing that they exist for is to try to keep their enemy laner from scaling, and it's just another like method for cheesing elo because the whole point of playing tank karma top is that you don't have to know how to play top lane. It's just it's a lane that basically wins itself unless you're awful at it, and you don't learn any top lane fundamentals by playing it. You don't learn how to trade. You don't learn how to wave manage really at all. You don't learn how to avoid ganks because you can pretty much never be set up on. I mean, theoretically, that's the only thing that you could die to, but you're just not learning any top lane skills. I think a lot of people who play stuff like that, like, and it's more common in the top lane, but it's also with people who play shit like Yumi. You know, you're not. I don't think you're learning how to play League of Legends better most of the time when you're playing Yumi. And this is kind of a different
Like
Brand,
counterpoint, because
Huh?
I agree with you 100%. If that's like if you're one tricking Yumi, you're not learning how to play League. You know, you're not gonna really enjoy it. Once you get bored of Yumi, like you're not gonna be able to play anything else because you don't know how to right click. But if you're a top lane main, like I remember Huni playing Tank Karma top and like that being in the LCS a couple years ago, and it's like a cheese thing in the fact that like Karma wasn't meant to be a top laner. You know,
Yes.
Victor wasn't meant to be a top laner, so a lot of people consider that cheese for a while. And I think that the difference between like something being cheesy and viable, like and just cheesy and not viable, or somebody that knows how to play the position, taking it into like Tryndamere, for example, because they're saying our win condition in draft is for me to stop this Tryndamere from scaling, and he's not going to get kills. And I'm going to be as useless as he is, like the old odd one quote about Nunu, and like it's
Classic.
well, yeah, what was it like? The whole point of Nunu is to make the enemy jungler more useless than you are, something like that.
Yes. I
Yeah,
think that's close enough. Yeah.
yeah. So I think a lot of cheese picks are like that, or like like Doing Beast picks, like the tank mid laners. It's like you're not really learning the role as far as it's traditionally played, but you're doing it in a different style. And I think like Zill has like he gets his kicks on like just making other people miserable, and him not like hard carrying, but making sure that his lane opponent doesn't. And I think that's like a completely viable strategy. I don't think anybody would argue that Zill doesn't know how to play League.
It's not a viable strategy when you increase the sample size.
Okay, so let
Like,
me back up because I think I want to answer that.
all right.
The reason I don't think it's a viable strategy is because it's a coin flip strategy. You're not
Yes.
winning
Yeah.
League. Someone else on your team is. And if
Yes.
you're
If
not
the
the
other
person that
if her
wins,
lanes had lost, like, I think we ended up losing that game. I ended up outscaling her. I'm pretty sure we lost that game. She was just basically she just built support items at the end of the game because her bot lane or mid lane or whoever the fuck had just smashed the
Yeah.
lane, and so they won. But if that goes the reverse way, then you lose because you no longer have any agency over the game,
Right.
which is kind of where the comparison to like pro play, in my opinion, breaks down. Because if you're
Yeah.
drafting tank karma, you know that in a pro game, you know that you have teammates that can carry you, and you have teammates that will scale hard and affect the game later on. Whereas, let's say that I was the shittiest player on my team and I wasn't going to do anything anyways, and you pick Tank Karma top to counter me, and then you're just countering a player that wasn't going to have any impact anyways, and in the process, you've also essentially made yourself useless for the whole game. You know?
I agree, but I think that I guess like I see the slippery slope that conversation goes into is that you have to play hard carries every game, whatever
You
position.
don't have to play hard carries. You have to play two hard carry. There's a difference. You can hard carry with Sejuani if you're good enough at it. You can hard carry with
with
Thresh if you're good
Thresh,
enough
if you're
at
good
it.
enough, yeah.
Yeah.
Those are not carry champions. You cannot hard carry with Tank Karma top. You
But like you
literally
have to play. I
cannot.
guess you have to play playmakers, not like damage, hard carries, but like something that can play make.
What
And
can't play make though? Like besides stupid cheese picks. I mean, every champion has playmaking
I guess so.
potential.
Yeah, I guess so. I just think
Like,
that I think there are times where if you look at your team comp and your last pick and you see Tryndamere top and that's all the damage or whatever, like whatever uh, the deal is, like there's one obvious win condition on the other team and you can shut it down with a pick. I think that's okay if you play other things and like you're picking that for a specific situation. I don't
Yeah.
think that's like a bad strategy. If you're a Tank Karma one trick, you're probably not, like you're not learning how to get good at League. If you, one trick anything, like I personally don't think you're learning how to get good at the game. I think you're learning how to get really good at one champion. And if you play something else, like your elo is going to be inflated, which is fine. Like
Well, okay, so I disagree with that point. I think you
Okay.
are I think if you play a one trick, it's not that you're not getting good at League, it's that you are specializing in one champion to maximize your win
Yeah,
potential.
yeah.
Like you're trying to peak, right?
Your elo is
Now,
inflated though, I think.
but now here's my kicker on that. Like if I one trick Draven, I can then turn and play another ADC because I've built up fundamentals on CSing, I've built up fundamentals on attack moving, I've built up fundamentals on team fight positioning. I mean, granted, those things are
Here's
going to
what I'll
be
say:
optimized,
a
but
diamond player who one tricks something is better than any versatile gold player, or
Oh
even
yeah,
most versatile platinum players, and it's not really close. Like
100%. I just think that like if you're a Diamond 4 one trick Draven and you decide to start playing Zaya, like you started a Smurf account and played Zaya, I don't think you're going to climb as easily. Like I think you're going to have to relearn that champion,
well, sure,
or if
but
you
I think it's
yeah
going to take you less games.
yeah
here's my thinking is that playing a one trick, because I mean people have called me a one trick. I don't think it's really true. I don't think I actually fit the definition of being a one trick, but I guess I'm close enough that whatever, I can see the appeal of it. But when you play a one trick, your elo, yes, it's inflated on some level, but also you're getting these games like right now I've just been one tricking Tryndamere top lane because it's the easiest thing for me to win with pretty much every game. And I'm platinum 1, so I went 2 and 1 or 2 and 3 in diamond promo, so I'm just basically want to get back to diamond and then play other stuff. But right now I'm one tricking Tryndamere. And that means I play Tryndamere into shitty matchups too that I could just easily win if I played other champions. Like, and the other thing is when you play a one trick, your ability to focus on other aspects of the game is greatly increased. So you like once you don't have to think about your champion's mechanics, you can start to actually think about how the puzzle pieces of like macro game and wave management and things like that start to fit together. I think that that's what makes one tricks able to then pivot off. I think because I honestly believe most one tricks, unless they're playing something brain dead easy, only one trick for the most part because it's what they enjoy doing. And I think that like there's this Quinn player who's in like Masters or Grandmasters that I was watching. Quinn AD I think is his name or something, but he plays Quinn into pretty much every matchup. And he was saying like, yeah, if I just picked Quinn into like the bruiser matchups that she just destroys, like Fiora and Jax, I'd have a 97% win rate on Quinn. But because I'm playing Quinn every game, and it would be easier for me to pick up more champions to cover the matchups that Quinn doesn't have as good of a time in. But I would rather just play Quinn because I like playing Quinn. And when you just play a one trick, you're free to learn League of Legends instead of just learning. Like, yes, it's all sort of centered on your champion, but you're free to think about other things because you're not thinking about your mechanics. Like right now, I've been playing mid lane, and my map awareness is worse because I don't play these champions. My uh, CSing is worse. I'm not getting as many minions. Everything, just every aspect of my gameplay is worse right now because I'm playing mid and I'm playing champions that I don't play. Whereas if you're only playing one champion, you learn the game, and that's fine. And most people should one trick to diamonds. I think personally, like if you actually care about climbing, you should one trick, um, even if it's inflating your elo. I,
I,
I I don't care.
yeah, I'm not trying to say that like people that one trick are like bad people or that they're bad at League or anything like that. What I'm saying is I think that somebody that if you make it to Diamond 4, I guess is like the kind of benchmark we're using. If you make it to Diamond 4 playing 20 different champions, then I think you're a better player than somebody that makes it to Diamond 4 with one champion.
Yeah, though,
And
I mean that's true.
yeah. And so like I'm not saying one tricking is a bad thing. I'm not saying one tricks are like bad players or anything like that. I usually pick a champ to one trick in ranked and I play that champ until I can't win on him anymore. Then I find another one. I stop playing rank until I find another one. And then I, only play that champ. And that's like, so I guess like in my definition, my elo is a little inflated as well, which is not it's kind of embarrassing because it's pretty low. But I think that if you're playing like different champs over a course of rank season, that probably means you're just a good League player. Like it's somebody like one Tooth Bear who plays, doesn't really even really play ranked, but he plays anything. And I've seen him hard carry on like support. I've seen him hard carry in pretty much every role. And he's somebody I'm like, wow, that's a really good league player. That guy knows the game in and out. And so one tricking's like the best way to climb, I think. And most people I've heard would agree with that. But yeah, I think that like if you're doing it, I guess it's not that you're not learning league. It's just that you're you're inflating you're maximizing your elo more than like it should be for general like your general role. I guess does that make sense at all?
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. I just
I,
think that
I, but that's the thing is, I think that what you're saying is true only if you consider that the baseline of how good somebody is how good they are across the spectrum. And I don't think that's true. Like, I don't think we
Mhm.
all have to be fill players to
Well,
have
I'm
a
saying in
like
like
an
a specific
accurate
role,
elo. Well, I
like
mean,
a
here's the thing.
specific
Like,
role.
I'm a support player that has like 30 something Mastery 7 champions that I could
Yeah.
play and support at any time. I've got a bunch of shit that's absolutely cheese ass dog shit that I can whip out and support at any point in time.
you've
And
even got the
like,
cleanest Pantheon ADC I've ever seen.
yeah, I just
Damn,
won a game of Pantheon ADC, so I must be fucking good. I didn't know I
you
was
are.
playing ADC and I thought I was playing support.
We
Whoops.
had Pyke Pantheon bot lane, and
Oh,
we won a 50-minute game.
Yeah, without an
wow.
ADC, we won a 50-minute game. So,
Clearly, you scaled harder than their ADC as Pantheon.
yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah, yeah.
But I mean, shit, man. Like, there's just I don't think you can say that it is a requirement to be good at League that you have to have a wide champion pool or even play more than one thing. I mean, I think like how good you are at League is how high you are on the ladder. Like if you wanted to talk about how versatile you are, then I think yeah, that's a totally different yeah, it's a totally different
Because
ballpark.
when people have versatility, like if you're more versatile than someone, but you're the same rank as them, the question then becomes, okay, so being versatile, I think everybody would agree that's a flat bonus to your gameplay. If you're versatile, you have an advantage over somebody who's not. So then the question becomes, okay, since I have this undeniable advantage over this other person, why are they the same rank as me? What advantage do they have over me? Because they're clearly compensating for their lack of versatility with some other skill that I don't know, whether it's just knowing the ins and outs of every interaction with their champion or whatever, if they're only playing one champion or whatever it might be. They do have some undeniable skill advantage in some aspect that I don't have. And to me, that's kind of where the and it's also like it's also just depends on what your definition of a good League of Legends player is. Like
Yeah, I
if
guess
your
that's what I'm getting
only
at.
yeah, if your only definition of a good League of Legends player is based on their elo and the number next
Nah.
and element next to their fucking name, it's like okay, then somebody who's gold 3 is undeniably better than someone who's silver 1 if that's what you're going by. But it's not quite that simple for most people.
No,
And
I definitely don't think so. And I do hate being on the podcast with Blake because he lawyers me every time, and I always agree with him. And I want to keep my point up, but I can't. And Ponderous just has the ramblings of a drunk man and parrots what Blake says. And
Well, that's it's just how it goes sometimes, you
yeah,
know. But
no,
now
but like
I'm a savant. Shut the fuck up.
so I will say though, like all things considered, when you're talking about the versatility and like what do you have versus what do they have, I think versatility. I'm not trying to minimize that as something that's very important. It is, but get to your benchmark of where you want to get with the game, and then some of those skills cross translate. That's what I'm saying is like ride your one
Well,
trick and ride them to a high enough elo where you're doing things right.
well,
And
because
then
like let me like pose a hypothetical. If you had someone that's never played League and you want them to learn how to play League, what do?
tell him to play
You
every
give them
champion.
yeah,
Do an A to
exactly,
Z series on Twitch.
exactly. You tell them to play that you tell them to find a character that they like, whether it's just based on their
Uni.
personality or their aesthetic or whatever. How about no? And then you just tell them to play that champion because there's so many things to think about in this fucking game that it's impossible to think about all of them effectively and also be trying to learn how what your champion does, you know. And I think that it's like yeah, you get to a point where it's not as much of a struggle. Like I can pick up most champions except Draven and be pretty competent on them in like 5 or 10 games.
I remember your Draven games.
They've gotten better.
They have gotten better. To
There
be
was
fair,
nowhere to go but up, Ponderous.
yeah, there's nowhere to go. I mean, that's very low bar, but it did get better.
Fuck you.
Like he was able to kill the scuttle crab without dropping axes. I watched it. I was there. That's
Yeah.
actually the funny thing is when he was like, "How do you fucking play this champion?" I was like, "Go into the practice tool, kill the scuttle crab while juggling 2 axes, and by the time you're done doing that a few times, you'll
It's easy.
you'll have a
You'll
feel
have-
for it."
It's free elo.
Your
Well, no,
ultra-
because it makes you like chase. The little son of a
Yeah,
bitch makes you chase him, and so you have to like click and move and click and move and click and move.
crap.
Yeah,
I don't know. Anyways,
like it's like a soccer drill. You might as well just set up cones in the river and like go. 'Cause that's
Dummies.
that would be cool if they made like actual like drills for each specific champion, but they barely have a functional tutorial and they still don't have 2-person practice tool, so I know that's never gonna happen, but it'd be kind of cool. I think we've beaten this topic to death.
I
I think
agree.
it would be cool,
What else are we
Ponderous.
supposed to talk about?
Oh, we
then
were
I
gonna
think-
talk about our duo and what we've done.
Oh yeah,
So
and Smurf Q, right?
yeah, and Smurf Q.
Cool.
So well, let's just talk about Smurf Q first because that's easy. I
Okay,
think, to
explain
talk
it to listeners and not to me because I already know everything there is to know about it.
That
Wow.
seems completely believable. So
Yeah, yeah.
uh,
You're really smart.
what Riot did is they implemented a Smurf detection system. So like if you were under level 30, the game would detect if you were like better than you should be to play against level 30s. Like, is this an account you've leveled before? Like, or is this like, this is a first experience in League of Legends? And if it is your first experience in League of Legends, they measure by a whole bunch of metrics and then they put you in games with people that also meet that criteria. But if you show that you've played League before, it accelerates your MMR and gets you out of those games. So you play in like a Smurf queue, like I'm smurfing up a second account, right? Like an alternate account queue. They have now applied that same kind of thing to ranked. So if I am a silver player and I'm consistently playing at a diamond level, then I'm going to go into Smurf queue where I'm going to be detected as a Smurf and then play against other Smurfs only.
So then my question for that becomes if let's say that you've got this game of 10 Smurfs, which probably will never happen, but let's say that you've got a game of 10 Smurfs, it's detecting that you're all playing in silver but at a diamond level. Is it going to give you MMR based on that? Like, are you going to have diamond level, quote unquote, maybe not literal diamond level MMR, but like, are you going to have higher MMR so that when you're playing these Smurf games at a 50% win rate in theory, are you still going to be climbing up at an accelerated rate?
I mean,
Or are you?
one would hope because the whole idea is like get them out of my elo, right? Because what you don't want to have happen is let's say you start coin flipping and you lose a few games because you're in Smurf mode, right? And then it drops you out of Smurf mode and you go right back to beating the shit out of silver kids or something.
Yeah.
That's not what you want as Riot. So the problem is I can't answer your question because they haven't released any of the details of the system.
I
But
think it's
this is
already implemented. Like, I think
yeah,
it's
it's already in, but this is the tweet, and this is all the information that we have is based on the tweet. And the tweet's from Mark Yetter, who's a rioter, and it says, "We're testing in some select regions a matchmaking upgrade that takes into account players' current rank along with MMR. This has many benefits, including grouping Smurfs, as some of you have already caught on to. More details coming in a blog later this week with all of our preseason plans for ranked and matchmaking."
I'm looking at Reddit right now, and there's one person that said Smurfing is done in all caps, comma, I think, question mark. So it said,
Typical Redditor IQ.
yeah. So it said try to queue your game on a silver account with platinum and MMR. You'll be surprised to see that after 5 minutes of queue, so there's longer queue times, it sounds like you'll match with 10 silver Smurfs, just like you. Is this a mistake? A huge change? I guess we're about to find out. So I think that it like legitimately puts you in a specific Smurf queue that only has people with a lot higher MMR than their actual rank and has a longer queue time, and you're playing against people that have, like I said, the same MMR as you. And so I would imagine that you would climb the same amount. Like it doesn't say anything about like their MMR gains or LP gains, anything like that being
Yeah.
affected. I think it's just you're placed against people that you're just as good as. So I would
And
imagine if you lose, you're not going to lose that much. And if you win, you're probably going to get like, still 25, 28 LP.
yeah, and that's what it all comes down to is what it does to your MMR and what it does to your LP gains. Because I wouldn't have a problem with that because like I use smurfing mostly to practice new stuff, and I'm still playing probably better than like if I played in silver, I could play anything at a like above a silver level and be detected as a smurf. But if I go
Even Tank
into
Karma top.
silver, yeah, exactly.
Wow.
I'm fucking sick at Tank Karma top.
Nice.
I
Yeah,
like to
because he has
use all the
fingers.
yeah
Go to his Smurf account, Tank Karma top only on
animal
OPGG.
actual animals.
Amazingly, that name is available.
Crazy.
But and so so maybe it would detect like if I'm playing random stuff or trying to learn champions that I like kind of know how to play but not really, it might detect me as being like a platinum player or something if I was in silver. Whereas if I go down and I just spam Yi games, it's gonna detect me as a diamond player for sure based on that. And so it's like I wouldn't mind playing like I would actually be fine with playing against platinum players when I'm in silver practicing champions. That's actually better for me because I'm getting higher quality practice on an account that's not my main that I don't care about. Like if you don't care about farming the win rate of the account, which a lot of people do, then I think this is a good change. The only problem comes in is if you're detected as having platinum MMR, but then they only give, and then you have a 50% win rate in Smurf Q, but they only give you, the 19 per win.
Yeah,
That would be fucking
that'd be
annoying.
awful.
Well, and the other thing that I think is kind of a hidden problem here is that like people who smurf tend to be toxic shitbags because they really don't care about the outcome of the game whatsoever. And so if I get smurf detected and I get thrown into a game with a whole bunch of other smurf detected individuals, like I can't imagine the quality of that ranked experience would actually be good for practice because it's going to be like I died FF15 and then
That's
Enemy
not how
team
your
is
normal
smurfing
games are.
GG.
do what? No, that is how my normal games are, but I'm hoping this will
That
help
actually
fix
is.
that.
Yeah.
So let's segue to actually what I wanted to talk about. Ponderous and I have been duoing quite a bit together.
Remember that duo
From
boosting conversation? It's about to become highly
yeah,
relevant.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
about to become
Buddy
exactly what
Quest
we're
was
talking about right
defending
now.
himself.
Yeah, I was like, I don't think it's boosting, and I have no
It's
ulterior
not
motive
boosting at
whatsoever
all.
for saying that.
We're just friends.
I just,
Come on.
I did, however, send him a copy of Mario Tennis Aces, but that's unrelated.
Yeah.
Like, are you okay with Ponder saying you're just friends? Did you
Yeah,
think you were more than that?
I mean,
Did you
don't
like?
tell my wife.
Okay.
Yeah. I do have a picture of us on a roller coaster together, and he does look effeminate in that picture. So
Shut the fuck up.
he was hiding
At least
from
I don't look
rain.
bold in that picture,
Yeah,
like some people.
yeah. At the time, he was hiding from rain. Just so you know, Jinsos. That's
Oh yeah, I was hiding from water droplets piercing my eyeballs at 80 miles an hour.
it's so painful. Like
It
I
was
don't.
so
Even,
painful.
I want to give
And we
him.
kept sitting. We kept okay. We were at the amusement park in a rainstorm, and we kept riding the roller coasters and sitting in the front row like fucking idiots. And then we
No.
go to the next ride and be like, "Hey, should we sit in the front again?" Fuck yeah. And then we get hit in the face by water, and then we go in the next one. Should we sit in the front again? Fuck yeah.
The
Idiots.
front was always open.
It
But
was
then again,
because there's no
so
one
is
there.
so is the rest of it because no one was
Yeah.
there because it was a fucking rainstorm and that shit hurt. And so anyway, but
So dumb.
okay, so we were doing, and basically it was from like bottom of Platte
Both of
through,
us.
yeah, both of
Bottom of
us,
Platte.
bottom of Platte through, and there were some things that like we saw that I want to discuss as kind of like what I want to focus this conversation on is like what are the barriers to climbing that we saw most often in plat games.
And why does Blake and so many other people like him suck so much at climbing solo despite not being a bad player? Did we
Yeah,
just lose
that's fine.
Gensos?
Yeah, we lost Jinsos. I don't
And it
know
says
what he
not
did.
recording.
Fuck. I'll have to wait for him to get back.
You want to hit record again?
No, because then whenever he gets back, I have to hit record.
You back,
and it'll-
Gensos?
Oh shit! Did I ruin it?
Yeah,
You
you did.
dropped.
Oh damn it! Yeah, Astros messaged me and said it sounded like shit. So
What, the whole
You don't,
thing, or?
my mic, he said it sounded like my webcam was recording it. Which
you don't sound that bad.
okay, well, does it sound better now?
It
Sounds the
sounds about the
same.
same to me.
Okay, well,
You
I
sound like
think
shit.
Astros are just being a little baby.
Yeah, don't worry about Astro's little baby bitch ears.
All right,
All right, here we
start
go.
recording again.
3, 2, 1. Hey guys, we had some limited technical difficulties, but Michael was just saying that, yeah.
Oh yeah,
Go
what I
on.
was saying. No, the question that I was posing is why do some people suck so much at climbing, like Blake, despite not being bad players? Because I'll go on record and say Blake is not a bad player.
hot
I know
take.
there are memes about him being carried, and there are memes about him sucking, and there are individuals who don't respect his skill at the game. But let's be honest, everybody who knows me knows how thin my patience is. And I would not have the patience to duo hundreds of games with somebody who sucked at this game. So let's just anyways, I just wanted to make that PSA.
I consider that undeniable evidence, knowing your lack of patience. So
Yes.
that's fine.
Anyone who knows me knows that I would not do it with anyone that I didn't respect as a player.
Ponderous never made it through med school.
But no, I will
I
tell
Couldn't be
you.
a doctor because he didn't have the patience.
Nice.
Oh God, that was a good one. That was a good one. So anyway, God damn it. Okay, anyway, so I do want to talk about that because we did. Aside from the brief vindication that I'm just gonna leave out there on the table, and we're gonna let that fester in the background. Yeah, I don't actually suck, dickheads. It's fine. So anyway, other than that,
He's not mad about it though.
yeah, I'm not. I have no bitterness, you fucking asshole doubter fuckers. So
Yes.
anyway, hey families that are listening to the show together, how are you guys? You doing
My
good?
kid learned the F word from you guys, by the way. I'm not
Oh,
allowed to
yeah?
listen to the podcast with him in the car anymore because even though he always asks me to listen to my friends, he says, "Papa, we
Oh,
listen
he
to your
does?
friends now," and I say we can't because they say bad words.
That's just true.
That's accurate.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he just came home and said the F word one day, like at 3 years old.
Oh
and,
yeah, my kid did that too.
yeah, nice.
But that's because he lives with me, and
Yeah.
I should filter more. But anyway, so I don't know. I lost my train of thought because we were talking about cursing around children.
We're talking about you being vindicated.
Oh yeah, so I'm
and-
vindicated. That's fine. That's super. But you did touch on something I do want to talk about, and that's like, why do some people have a huge problem climbing when you're better than you are, and thus climbing should be easy,
Yes.
right? Because like that's a huge. I am a perfect example of this. It is very difficult for me to climb in a solo fashion. Right? Like undeniably so. A lot of it has to do with the fact that I'm a support main. But even if it didn't, I have undeniable issues on solo climbing expeditions. Michael, you've do it with me now like however many games.
A lot. Too many games.
Take
At
your
least
take.
10.
What's your take on this?
Well, in my last diamond promo, you went 2-13. So scratch
Yeah.
everything that I just said.
Right,
Oh,
right.
damn.
That was a rough one.
That was a rough one.
We had a real rough game on that one. So
We had
like
a real rough day.
Yeah, that
yesterday?
was-
Was that really only yesterday?
that was
It
yesterday.
Oh,
Good news, Blake. It wasn't your diamond promos, so it didn't
Yeah,
really
no,
matter.
it was my
That's true.
plat promos.
He's trying to keep me in his elo long enough so he can squeeze a little bit more elo out of me.
Yeah,
Nice,
by
that's why you use
losing
diamond.
by losing Elo myself.
Well, but if I
That's what I'm
promoted, I
friendship.
would just be done. That
It's
would be
not
it.
the elo you gain together; it's the friendship you make
Yeah.
along the way.
It's the,
Maybe
it's
that's
the
the real Elo.
moments that we
Yeah.
have together.
Speaking of people being better than their MMR or whatever ELO represents, I do want to throw a disclaimer that if you're listening to this and you're thinking that's you, it's probably not. You're probably like unless you've reached like what'd you peak at? Diamond 3 when Diamond 5 was still a thing?
Yeah, I peaked at Diamond 3 100 LP. I was in my
Yeah.
promos to Diamond 2.
So you're probably not a Diamond player, listener, unless you've gotten to Diamond before. And like if you're hard stuck like Gold 3, like some kind of loser, like who would that be? If you're hard stuck Gold 3, like this idiot Genso's I'm OPGGing. Oh no, I'm Gold 4 now. I forgot. I lost games.
Well, you're not hard stuck Gold 3. You've got
I'm
mobility.
Yeah, you made it.
Take that. But yeah, if you're hard stuck low gold, like some idiot, then that's where I deserve to be. And if I duoed with Ponderous, like that would be a boosting thing. Like that if Ponderous came in, and I've played games with Ponderous on like a Smurf like last season, and but it was when I had like a 55% win rate, and I played how many games like ranked games we played together, Ponderous?
I
Like
don't think
2
I
or
played it
3.
all in season 9. It might have been season 8, honestly.
You legit it was when I was gold, which was last season. So you legitimately played like I think like 2 or 3 games, if that,
Yeah,
with me.
that's
And like I
not too
played
bad.
with other people on like Smurfs, like maybe a total of 10 games I do it last season. And so, like yes, technically like I'm getting boosted, and I probably had a 50% win rate in all those games with people because they didn't care because it wasn't like, their main
I
account and
tried
all.
my hardest, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure you
Probably
did.
playing fucking Katarina or some dumb shit.
I think you did. Yeah, I think that was it. But yeah, so like stuff like that, is like, yeah, sure, whatever. It was a boosting thing, but it was like a lower win percentage duoing than soloing. But like I guess what I'm saying is, if you think that you're being held back because you don't have Ponderous as a duo partner, it's probably not true. If you find a duo partner, then Astros just messaged me and said, I think I int every time we duo. So even if you got boosted, I counteracted it. Thank you, Astros, for inting my games. And I agree. That does happen. But I also played
Factual.
games with Dark Snipe, and he played things like Dead Man's Evelyn Mid. But yeah, so what was I saying? But yeah, so things like, or if you think that's the reason why you're not climbing, it's probably not. If you find a good duo that you mesh with, you're gonna climb faster. In that's a great thing. Like find a duo, have friends, like be social. But yeah, you're not being held out of Diamond. You're not Nilo hell because you don't have Ponderous as a duo partner.
I appreciate you going on that long-winded rant about that when you could have just turned it over to me for 5 seconds for me to say, if you're in low elo, you fucking suck at League of Legends.
Yeah, but then you're attacking me on that, Ponderous, and
Oh,
I'm
well then
very
never mind. If
self-conscious
you're in
right
low
now.
elo, you're just a cocoon with a beautiful butterfly inside.
Can I have one other like
You're
semi-long rant?
you're
It's
a
not as long.
flower waiting to bloom.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
yeah, go ahead, Jensen.
one thing I've noticed, and I'm like, I'm coaching esports now at the middle school I teach at, and it's like we're like sort of starting the program, but they're I've talked with a lot of kids about stuff and all that last year about gaming stuff, and a lot of people, like kids and adults, have their like self-worth tied to their elo. And I used to be really stressed out about the fact that I was silver, and I tried really hard to be good at League, and I wasn't better than I was, and like that I put a lot of hours and like watched a lot of videos and did all that stuff, and I couldn't climb. And I think that if that's you, like, don't do that, because like some people just like, I got stuck in video games, and like I try really hard, like this is probably what I like put most of my time and effort into, and I have TFT now, so at least there's that, like I can be good at one thing that no one cares about. But but like don't attach your self-worth to your elo, because that's like a bad road to head on, especially with coronavirus and all that. And that's my PSA for the day.
It's a good PSA.
Thanks,
More
Ponderous.
I think everyone has that to some degree. Like
Yeah.
even me for not like hitting masters or anything. Like that's always sort of bothered me. Not as much anymore because
I mean,
I don't really
your
care.
self-worth should be low for other reasons though, Ponderous.
Exactly.
Right, like
Yeah.
haircut.
At least I have hairs to cut.
Yeah.
You making
By the
fun
way-
of anyone's hair. Look at this.
Yeah.
Mad Blake?
Yeah, I wish just give me a garbage bag full of some of that
Mhm.
hair. We're
You
gonna
can have
make
some
this
of my hair,
happen.
Blake.
Now check it out.
Yeah.
On the podcast, Twitch chat has noted that Jinsos legitimately looks like he could be Ponderous's dad. That was a
We both
comment
do have the
made.
same wavy haircut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Does that mean
anyway,
Astro's his grandpa?
yeah, I guess so. It's the family tree.
3
So
generations of League players.
So like we still haven't hit like, okay, why? Are some people just bad at climbing? Ponderous. Aside from the game in which I went like 2 and 13, because that was you're not gonna climb doing that. So
Yeah.
aside from that,
I actually, not to meme, I actually am going to use that game as kind of an example
oh god.
because
Okay.
Blake, we've talked about this off the podcast before, so I'm not putting Blake on blast with no warning because we've talked about all this before. But like, I would say that Blake has maybe more of those games than the average player because he never lets up the aggression, which is not necessarily a bad thing. But when you never let up the aggression, you will have games where you go 2-13, and it's just inevitable. And now the counter side of that is that when you're aggressive in a game that you're winning and you keep getting openings because of that aggression, it makes you win. And if you're getting like super fed 60% of your games and popping off and then doing really poorly 40%, then you're still going to climb off of that. So it's not a bad thing. It's just about making sure that the aggression is placed in the right spot. But basically, like, Blake has trouble hitting the brakes sometimes, and we've talked about this, but it's just the the thing is that when he doesn't have, like, because let's talk about ADCs. Let's just pivot real quick. Let's talk about platinum and diamond ADCs.
Okay.
Holy shit. Platinum and diamond ADCs are so fucking bad.
Okay,
In League
so
of
let me
Legends.
just stop. Ponderous, you've heard me for years
Years.
complain about
How
how
long have we known each
bad,
other?
yeah, that long. So you've heard me complain about how bad ADCs are at basic things that they should know to
Like level 2
be,
power spike.
yeah, to
What's
be
that?
platinum or diamond. Like the level 2 power spike is the biggest damn one, right?
Yeah.
I think you're
Go
making
on
that up,
it.
Blake.
Go on it when you got it, respect it when you don't, and
Count the minions.
count the minions. Level 1, it's not hard.
Another one is if Blake stays behind to leash, how many of his ADCs will kill the minions before he's in experience range so he doesn't hit level 2 at
Right.
the appropriate time? That happens all the I hear him complain about that every game. It feels like.
Yeah, because it's fucking stupid and it's so easy to fix. Like, just don't hit it. It's better. Like, or at least don't push it. Like, even if you're gonna just last hit it, that's fine. But if I'm like that, and I'm, for all you home listeners, I'm putting my fingers very close together to illustrate a point. If I am that fucking far from EXP range, let the minion die to other minions even. Just forgo the CS. So that way I can get that EXP because that EXP is going to be more valuable than like the 13 gold you're going to get.
It's 13 gold they'll never get back.
Right. Don't give a shit. I'll give them 300 if they'll just be cool. Like, but they won't. So anyway, I've been
You got
I've
a
been
flash for that
complaining.
experience, Blake.
Yeah, I've been complaining about this shit forever. And I always kind of secretly wonder whether somebody who doesn't play bot or doesn't see what's going on with bot just kind of thought that maybe I'm just being a bitch about it, or maybe I'm over exaggerating these kind of issues, or maybe it's just little things that I'm seeing that they're not that really aren't that big of a deal. Ponderous, I've now actually had you watch my replays
Yes.
of what happens in bot lane.
Oh god. It's so painful, especially one game in specific that I'm thinking of where he had the
Diamond
misfortune.
Misfortune?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Diamond Misfortune. That was a shared account though. We're like 90% sure because there were switched summoner spells in the op.gg. But
Mm.
so that was a special case. But yeah, I mean, listen, like, these ADC players, most of them are fucking terrible, and it's really sad because I don't know.
well, like,
As
I'll
much as
just put it this
I
way.
don't want to be that guy, but I'm gonna be that guy right now. I'm better at ADC than most of the diamond ADCs that we play with in our games,
Like, I can
and
unbiasedly confirm that that's the case
they're
because we played duo bot together.
they're really fucking bad at ADC, and
Like,
I
that's a
do
low
not play a
bar.
lot of ADC
So,
because, and
like,
it's not even because of my Like, my mechanics are good and they help, but that role is not just about mechanics, especially not in the lane phase, which is where most of these problems come in. And it's just fundamentals that are lacking. I don't know what happened, if it's always been like this, but it just feels like ADCs lack fundamentals. And I wonder if it's because they're so used to being babied in the bot lane. Like, if you suck at mid or top, and you're in a 1v1 lane, it's not going to be fun. But in support or in bot lane, you at least have somebody to try to bail you out and shift blame and blah blah blah. You know, I don't know what it is, but ADCs are fucking bad.
Well, like, I'll just go ahead and do this. If I were to rank in Platinum who the most skilled players are on the team, it would always end up being something like this: top and mid, 1 and 2, a jungler or support, 3 and 4, and ADC would be a distant 5 in terms of like who's the most skilled person on the roster right now. The funny thing is, when you get to the highest level, ADC just jumps from last to first. Like ADCs all of a sudden become the best person on the team and the most important person on the team. But that's not true in Plat. Like it's just not. It can be. I'm not saying that like every single one is awful. It's just not on average in Plat.
Yeah, I think it's like the most mechanically intensive position at the highest levels. But if
It
you're
is,
out of position
for sure.
for a little bit, like if you're out of position a little bit in like a gold game, no one, like, not everyone's gonna jump on you all at once. Like somebody might, and you might die a couple times. But like if you're just not great at positioning, like it's not that big of a deal as it is in Masters, Challenger. I'm sure from what I've heard from those people.
Yeah, I mean, ADC. Here's the thing: ADC is a mechanical role. It is, undoubtedly, it is, and it's a role that rewards mechanics. But ev- everything in League of Legends, you're rewarded more for fundamentals than you are for mechanics or reaction times. And the problem is that the fundamentals are not as easy to see, and they're certainly not as flashy as just seeing somebody flash a Malphite ult on reaction, you know? And I think that I don't know what it is, if it's just like the culture, if it's just the the way that the game has turned, but it feels like fundamentals are just not there for a lot of these players. Which, to talk about what we were originally talking about, is part of Blake's problem with climbing. And it sounds like a very Elo Hell type argument to say like, oh, Blake can't climb because his ADCs are bad, and it kind of is. And I've actually yelled at Blake to stop trying to make plays when he
Mhm.
like, because
That's
when you're
true.
playing, like when I'm playing jungle, I can tell if my top laner sucks within the first 2 minutes if I just watch them. You know, I know.
Okay,
And
let's talk about that 1 second before you go on any further. There's one thing that is driven me absolutely insane over the last like 4 divisions of Platinum. I can tell whether you suck in the first 30 seconds. Do you go defend your tower? Like
at level
at,
one,
at level 1, do you go defend your
Important.
tower right off? You go fountain straight to your tower. Do you do that? Because if you do, you suck. Like that
yes.
is so easy to fix. You do nothing for your team whenever you run to a tower and stand underneath it. You're
Just
What if you
stand in
have
just
to
the
go get a
jungle.
drink or go pee?
Do that
you
in
do that
loading
before the
screen.
game.
No, Ponderous. It's
What?
the most important to do it in the first minute and 30 seconds.
It's
Okay.
most important
Really?
to have the least amount. It's optimized bladder,
Well,
right?
okay,
Because you can't fill it up over the course of the game. And
Exactly.
but we did see a few people defending the tier 2 tower,
oh yeah,
which was
that one
a
was great.
controversial strategy.
Well, you
Yeah.
got to make sure they don't proxy.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah,
It's
that's
a big
it's really
strat.
fucking tilting. If you just stand at your tower at level 1, fuck you. And we see it so every game.
Every game.
Like half the games we have to ping the top laner to go defend the blue or red buff.
No, more
Like,
than half.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
more. Like easily, it is in at least 80% of games. Someone on our team is standing under tower. And the
Okay,
fucked up
yeah.
thing
At least
is,
one person. Yeah.
and the fucked up thing is, we're 2 of the 5.
Yeah.
You know, there are only
And we're not
3
standing under
spots
tower.
left to
Yeah.
stand under tower, and one of those 3 in 75% of games is doing that. Anyway,
The fortunate thing is if you only have like if you have at least 3 people watching shit you're usually fine in solo queue because there's not that much like level 1 stuff that can actually happen. It's basically either nothing happens or one team invades, and you can watch that pretty easily. There's no shenanigans usually. But it's still incredibly frustrating and annoying, and you're not helping your team. But anyways,
Okay,
so
so
I
you
was
were
talking
saying
about,
you can tell whether somebody sucks pretty quick, and
yeah,
then
as a jungler, because
yeah.
that's where my frame of reference is. I know that if you play bot lane, you can tell if your other person sucks in the first 30 seconds, and this is part of what has, I think, caused Blake to have bad games, is that he knows when his ADC sucks, but then he makes plays that only a good ADC will properly follow up on, which results in death. Like, let's say that you go for, you're playing I don't even know. Let's say you're playing Thresh and you have a Kai'Sa ADC, and you're into like Ezreal and Lulu, and you hit a hook on the Lulu, and it's kind of out of the Kai'Sa's, and the Kai'Sa's mispositioned in lane. So you hit the hook, it's a good hook. If the Kai'Sa was positioned properly, you could just go in, pull the hook, do the flay, and then burn her flash, burn her ADC's heal, burn whatever, and it would just be a good play. But instead, what happens? Your ADC is mispositioned in the lane, is standing behind the caster minions. So you go in, you hook, you flay, and now she's like, oh, I have to position. So she starts running forward to try to get there, but it's too late at that point, and the play doesn't work because she wasn't already in position to make it work. And then that results in you guys getting the loss when it should have been in your favor. It's now a bad play.
Well, I'd
But
say it's actually probably more like this.
yeah,
I
sure.
land the hook, I run back, I throw her the lantern, and I'm like, click this, come with me. And then I go in, and she doesn't click the lantern, and then I die.
What does
Fair
clicking
enough.
lantern do?
Yeah, exactly. So, this is the kind of shit like
But let me jump in real quick before you go any further.
yeah,
But here's the thing. Blake knew that this ADC sucked by that point in the game because we're assuming he's level 3 by now. By level 3, you know the skill level of your ADC. And which then begs the question, like, okay, this ADC sucks. We know that. They're not positioning well in lane. They're not respecting the level 2 power spike, whatever it is that tipped you off that they suck. And then you're making plays like that, expecting a higher level of play than this person has displayed to be capable of because it's quote unquote the right play. But it's
right.
not the right play because they're bad. And then you die and they die, and you're now losing lane because you didn't I don't want to say respect, but that's the closest word. You didn't respect that your ADC sucks
Right.
because you're like, okay, well, they're just all of a sudden going to be good. I'm going to make this play, and then they're going to be good for 20 seconds and make it work, and then they're not, and then you die, and then it's bad.
Yeah. It's not like they're going to develop more brain cells between the decision that I
Yes.
made earlier that they sucked and then now. And for
Yes.
some
Exactly.
reason, I keep like cuz in my mind I'm like I'm going to put this game on my shoulders. I'm going to carry this game. Like that is my mindset out of bot lane. And like the good news that like us duoing together has created is that generally speaking, I will either win lane, and I've been taking my foot off the gas more and more in plat and playing more. I don't want to use the word passively because I think that's a buzzword that people use as an excuse to
To
like,
not try to make engages and try
yeah,
not to
not play
it's
well.
people use it as an excuse to play lazily.
If you're gonna err on the side of being super aggressive, and
Yeah.
with that being said, that's something I was thinking about today. Is like if I want to climb, I need to stop engaging all the time. If like if the enemy ADC gets a double kill, like my ADC is not gonna want to fight, whether we can or not.
Mhm.
Isn't the question? It's like whether my ADC is gonna follow up on anything. They won't if we give up a double kill,
It's
even if we're
easier to
stronger.
learn not to do things than it is when you want to do them than it
Yeah,
is to learn how to do things when you never develop those fundamentals because you played passively,
yeah.
which is fake, by the way. There is no passive play style. I'll fucking fight anyone that there is no passive play style. There's only,
Well,
and
and
this
you'll
is
win the
ripped from
fight because
LS.
they won't hit you back.
Yeah, exactly. And this is stolen from LS, but he said like there is no passive such thing as a passive playstyle. There's only a bad player or a bad play style.
Yeah.
Because if you're playing passively, that means that you're just giving up free advantages constantly.
Doesn't
So
mean you engage at every set. Like that doesn't mean
it
you're
doesn't
throwing
mean
blitz
that
hooks
you're
on cooldown.
insane and
Yeah.
jumping in every 2 seconds, but it means that you're ready to jump in at any time. That's
And
what it means.
you know what the opportunities are, and you know how to take them. And if you're behind, you know that those opportunities are more limited, and so you know like where your spikes
And
are, where their spikes are.
And like
all
that's
that.
why I will respect a blitzcrank player who goes for the flash hook and misses more than I respect some fuckhead Soraka player every day of the
Or
week.
Karma top player.
Yeah, like no, I mean yeah, but for real though, like I know you're memeing me, but seriously,
That's
Yeah.
what he
like
does. That's what we bring him on the podcast for. Most
That's
of
all
the
I
time.
do. I'm not
It's
good at League, and I
TFT
have
and
nothing
then
to contribute.
memeing
But
the other two. That's how.
yeah,
yeah,
just make
Yeah.
fun of
but like
Pondus.
it's true though, like if that
And you
guy
can play
flashes and misses
Soraka
a hook,
aggressively though. You can be like a
sure,
super aggro Soraka, and that's awesome. Like aggro Sorakas are great. Like Janna, her best win rate is maxing W because that's poke, and that's how you win lane is taking Comet and
yeah,
hitting
but
people with
people who
Ws.
want to play like that are not drawn to those characters. Is the
No.
problem?
Oh god, no. Like Yumi,
It's
people
not that
just
they
want
don't
to
have the
sit
tools.
inside.
Yeah.
Yeah, Yumi I think is actually kind of fun.
Like
And like
can we talk about this, Blake? There
Yeah.
was one Yumi that we played against, and Blake played Brand, and the Yumi would pop out. He would hit his pillar combo, but the Yumi would pop out of their body when the stun was about to land and block it. It's because you have to be hit by one of his other abilities to land the stun. And
yeah,
the Yumi would jump out, block the thing, and then go back in. And I was like, I have never respected a Yumi player, but that's actually pretty smart.
Yeah, I was like, I
That's actually
it's a
respected
good
pretty
that. I
playing
was
smart.
style.
like, I would have killed this dude 3 different times because I would walk up and like E and then go for the Q to stun and then the flame underneath, right? And the Yumi would just pop out, eat what would be the stun, and then go back in and disrupt my combo. So I
Yeah.
wouldn't get my passive and I wouldn't get the stun off. And I'm like, God, that's annoying, but I'm gonna give it to this guy. Like that's clever, and that's
And
playing a
he's actively
champion.
playing the
Yeah,
game.
yeah, he's
Yeah.
playing
Because
that
that's why
champion.
Yumi's design is so whack, is because it just basically enables you to not play the game or to play the
Mhm.
game as little as possible.
Right. I remember the most frustrating lane I've ever played was I was playing Pike into a Janna, and I couldn't do anything because anytime I'd charge hook, they would just tornado. Anytime I would dash in, they would tornado, and it was like a diamond support main, so it didn't make me feel terrible. But Pike into Soraka is the same thing. Like they just drop the silence, and what do? Like when you're charging your hook,
Yep.
you just stop hooking, and nothing happens, and you're slowed a little bit from it, so usually you get confused and rooted. Or maybe that's just me. But I think that like if you play these enchanter supports, like they have a bad stigma because most people, like you're saying, Ponders, play them passively, passively in quotes, and
And it's not even most, it's an overwhelming majority.
yeah, for sure. But if you're a good Janna player, if you watch like good Janna players or good Lulu players, good Soraka players, any of these enchanters that are typically like looked down on as like the boosting supports, like I'm getting boosted supports, and you see how they play, it's like more aggressive than Threshes, Blitzcranks, Nautiluses, Leonas. They're standing up next to the wave. They're above their ADC. If you're ever behind your ADC as a support, you're probably doing something wrong. As a
Yes.
side note, but even if you're playing those enchanters, like that should be the mentality. Is I'm up front, I'm harassing when they're going for CS, I'm trading. It's like trading stance from the UNSW Law Society videos.
Mhm.
But nobody watches those, so let's
No,
just
no,
not even
they're
talk
not
about it.
important.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is also a thing that platinum players right now that Ponders I play with, there's so many people that have never watched those videos, never understand the core mechanics of like how to do things in League of Legends, and it leads them to make bad decisions, right? And then the last thing that I really want, like these are the glaring obvious mistakes of platinum. That's what I came here to discuss, right? And
Yeah.
like if I were to characterize what he said about me, it's that I'm stuck in a mindset. Like this is how I want the game to go, and I'm not adapting to new information
And you're not
because of
playing a
that.
role that allows you to
Solo
like
carry.
to play, yeah, because like at the way that I can play however I want in top lane. Like I can do whatever I want to do. I can have whatever
You have
play style I
agency.
want. I have agency. My success is generally not dependent on someone else. And in bot lane, your success is pretty much always dependent on someone else. because you could take my jungler out of the game, and it's gonna make my lane a lot harder potentially, but it's still gonna be on me whether or not I win or lose. But
Mhm.
with the support, if you take the ADC out of the lane, there's literally nothing you can do, which is what it feels like when you have a bad ADC. It feels like they're not doing
You
anything.
can roam mid.
Yeah,
That's what.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I do. And then
And he
like
does.
mid laners are another whole nother ball of wax, but whatever. But what I wanted to talk about, aside from like these kind of things, is like don't get stuck in a mindset. That's a big thing. Like I'm gonna do this thing, and then whenever that thing changes, you're like, well, I can't do anything. Like there's always something you can do, and you need to figure out what that thing is. And even if that thing is like go for less shit, then
Yeah.
do that because I created an unsolvable problem in one of those games. Like 2-13, yikes! Like that's an unsolvable problem, and I didn't even have the assist to back that up. It was like 2-13-6 or something. It was really bad. Maybe it was 4. I don't know. It was just the undeniably probably the worst game I've had this entire season. Right?
Yeah,
Like
it's pretty rough.
it was a rough one. So, don't get stuck in that. Two, uh, level one matters. Like, get out there and watch your fucking jungle entrances. You're being a lazy asshole to not do that. And you're screwing over your jungler. And it's like, I'm not a jungler. I'm a support main. What the fuck do I care if we screw over the jungler? I get to keep my ward. Like, except if you don't have a jungler and they do, you're going to lose the game. All right? Like, okay. Three, mentality.
Yeah.
Platt is the land of busted mental, right? Like, I don't know how many times. Well, here, Ponderous. How many times do we run into the phrase FF15 said within 4 minutes of the game starting?
Yeah. I mean, it'll be 4-1, and then they'll just say 15 in the chat, and it's like, Jesus Christ, I don't have the best mental. It's gotten better, but it's not amazing. But like, God damn it, I don't fucking mentally throw in the towel at 5 minutes into a game. Like, I might say things like, my lane is pretty much fucked at this point. Like, there's a game where I'm playing Tryndamere, and the Renekton sets up a dive with his jungler at like level 3 on my turret. There's nothing I can do. And I die and miss like 12 minions under tower. And like at that point, it's like, okay, this is a horrible lane matchup for me already. And I just got severely put down behind. It's over for me in this lane. That doesn't mean I give up the game, but that means like, okay, my chances of killing this Renekton 1v1 and snowballing a lead are gone. So it's now my job to play from behind, make sure other people on my team can get resources, or make sure that I can get the resources I need to get back in the game. But there's a big difference between, yeah, my lane is over, so I'm just gonna kind of turtle and see what I can do, and like FF15.
Yeah,
Right.
and I
Which
think
is
those that like if that's one out of every like if one out of every 20 games that you think you're gonna lose, I'm not really good at math, so I don't really know if this is true, but if one
aren't you
out
a
of every
math
20
teacher?
no, it's fine. One out of every 20 games,
And
you
you
run
are,
about
aren't you? I
F5.
mean,
Yeah,
really
yeah.
though, you are, right?
No,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
That's I was hoping somebody would catch that. That was my attempt at a joke. But yeah, so like if one out of every 20 games that you would have lost, you
He's not a
win.
joke teacher, Michael.
Yeah.
Of course not.
Idiot. But
Idiot.
so if you win those games that you would FF at 15, because you don't FF, then like what is that, a 2.5% swing on your win rate?
Would you,
Like
Something
let's
like
say
that,
you like
yeah.
assuming you have a 50% win rate.
1 out of 20 is 5%.
Right, but like the ones you would have lost. So you would have lost like 50% of your games.
Okay, yeah, I see
Yeah,
what you're
yeah.
saying. Then two and a
So
half.
like I
Yeah.
don't know, maybe that's like botch math, but like um but yeah, so if you have a 2.5% swing, you're climbing like 2.5 times faster than somebody. Like if you have a 52.5% win rate,
Well,
you're
yeah.
climbing that much faster than somebody who has a 50 or 51% win
And
rate,
and another thing like that
which is a lot.
ties into this is that people are not interested, and ADCs are the fucking worst with this. And take it from someone who has an extremely not limited, but like extremely focused carry mentality. Like I want to be the biggest person on the map in every game that I play. And maybe everyone does, but like I play champions that are like that are designed to try to put the game on their back, take all the turrets, kill all the champions, and get all the CS. Like that's how I play. But there are games where I realize that I am not the win condition anymore. And for as much ego as I have in this game, it's like I can say, okay, I'm not the win condition this game. I'm I'm gonna sit back and let other people do all the work. But some people just will refuse to get carried. Like you'll have like a 7-0 mid laner, and your ADC is feeding, like they're 0-3 or something, and they refuse to just sit back and let the 7-0 mid laner win them the game. You know, and that loses a lot of games that could otherwise be won by if the ADC just started turtling, playing around the mid laner, making sure that the mid laner got all the resources that they need. You could easily have a one game, but they don't want to win if they're not the one that is solely causing the team to win. And I think
I
that's a
also
huge problem in Platinum.
want to back up on that because like the FF15 thing is so prevalent, and one, it's damaging. Like it's incredibly damaging to your team to hear that at 3 minutes. It just is. Like that sucks. Don't fucking do that. But then the other is surrendering at all is almost completely stupid in platinum or below. Because Michael, how many times did we come back over the course of our, I don't know, how many games we played, like 50?
Something like that.
Yeah, like over the course of our like 50 game run, how many of those games were completely fucking objectively lost that both of us were saying, yeah, we're probably going to this game is fucked.
I'm looking on our match history to see if there are any there.
But I mean, there are so many
Yeah.
games that the game is completely fucked, and I just tell Michael, I'm like, dude, it's fine. Hold on. They won't close it out, or we still have a chance to win if they completely fuck up, and this is what we're going to try to do. And then of those games that we have identified as being completely fucked, and we're like, well, we're just not going to surrender because, right?
Yeah.
We have won probably 75% of those games.
Yeah, it's been a pretty good amount, and it's because people don't like. I don't know. They're just bad. There's just no other way to say it. They just don't play around whatever their win condition is, and they suck. Like, if you have a Fed, like I was saying, if you have a Fed Cassiopeia, she's your win condition. Play everything around her. Try to make it so that she can win the game. That's a very specific win condition. But if you have people just jerking off in top lane while the Cassiopeia wants to siege down mid, you're not going to win because you're not playing around your win condition. And people lose games like that all the time. And that happens with me. Like if I'm fed on Tryndamere and the rest of my team sucks, it's like, okay, if you're going to let me play around the split push, if you guys play around me split pushing, we can win this game. But sometimes they just won't do it. They just will not play around the split push, and then we lose.
So
It's a fact of platinum that win conditions are not respected by the person that either has the win condition or by the enemy team.
So instead of actually coming on the podcast, Astro just wants to message me on Discord and tell me to say things. But one thing that he said that was actually worth saying was remind Ponderous of my Lilia game with him that we came back and won after he was down 3 levels in 2k gold XD. He will tilt and flame riot for making a champion like Lilia. Speedy deer wingcon, all caps. So
Lilia is such bullshit. That champion is such bullshit.
Yeah.
But yeah, like exactly, like, and I'm pretty sure I was in a crappy matchup that game too that you should never be able to come back on. Like even like I've died, like I've played Tryndamere into Jax, and I fucking die because I don't crit or whatever, or because I suck or I get ganked and I lose. And like that's not actually that bad of a matchup for Tryndamere like you would think until later on in the game. Then it gets much worse. But if you get behind in that matchup, it should just be over. But it never is. Like how many times have I died, Blake, like top lane first blood to a champion that should outscale me or at least beat me in the mid game if they have an advantage, and then I just solo kill them like 2 or 3 minutes later. It happens
Yeah.
all the time, and that's the thing is that nothing is permanent in platinum. Like
It's not pro
nothing.
play.
It's not.
Yeah, it's not pro
even
play.
close.
And that's the
And
thing
even
is
pro
like
play that happens.
It's not even
everybody.
a high elo solo queue.
Well, that's the
Like
thing is like
really.
I see these people and they get this mentality from they watch like challenger players and they watch all this shit and they see like, oh well, this game's over. Next game, 20 minutes,
Well, everybody
whatever.
fetishizes Korean solo queue, and Korean solo queue has an extremely well-known FF at 15 culture. And
'Cause they
that's
pay
the
money
best
to play
solo queue
games.
in the exactly. That's
Yeah.
what people don't fucking get.
Get rid of your Korean fetish.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I'm not.
Well,
even
no,
gonna
I
go
want
there.
to delve into that because you said it, but I don't think many people understand it. A lot of those people don't own PCs; they go to PC bongs, and then because they do that, they pay by the hour to play. And if the game is lost, it is financially efficient for them to
Yes.
move on to the next game, so they can play more in the limited time frame that they have to
Right.
play.
If
Like,
they have a 70% chance of losing,
Yeah.
that's not a horrible chance. Like most NA players who don't have tiny mental would be more than willing to play a game out for a 30% chance of winning. But in Korea, it might not be worth it. You'd rather just get into a game where you feel like you're going to be able to have more of an impact than, whatever.
And if you know what's going to happen on the other side too, like if you get ahead, the other team's going to FF15 because they're paying money too, then it makes it a lot easier to swallow. So it's
Yeah.
like, like in NA, it's like, we're playing, it's like, that's not going to happen. We
Yeah,
might get
everyone's heard about the
outskilled.
NA Open,
Yeah. Yeah.
where
One
mid's
person.
open. One person says mid's open, and then
Yeah.
everybody's just in their lanes. And it's like,
And the one person that says mid's open is still playing in
it's
mid.
still playing. Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Yeah. It's the best.
we actually had our first real NA open
that was crazy. They
and
just
actually
straight up opened it
they
like 12
really
minutes.
opened.
And
And
they all stayed AFK. They didn't fuck with us when we were killing the Nexus.
Nice. Good for
Like,
them.
because like even NA teams will sometimes open and they'll stay in their base until you start killing the Nexus towers. Then they want to play the game when they've already given up 2 inhibitors and the game is over. Then they start playing again and prolong it like an extra 5 minutes for no reason, and
That's
then
when
lose
it's fun.
anyways.
Yeah.
Fucking NA. Yeah, but people fetishize Korean solo queue as being the best in the world, and people FF15 there all the time. So that's why they're like, well, that's the best solo queue. So I'm just gonna do everything without actually analyzing or thinking about why it's like that. They're
Yeah.
not better players because they FF at 15, and they don't FF at 15 because they're better players that are going to extend their leads properly. They do it because they're
poor.
God damn it.
So a good example of like all what we're talking about is community games on Monday night. Which, by the way, you should come to community games on Monday nights. It's at 7 Central or no 8 Central,
Oh God.
7 Mountain Time and 9 Eastern Time and all the other time zones. But we were playing and we were getting like shit stomped, and I was
fuck.
playing Janna into Pike because I saw somebody beat me with it, and I was like, I can play that, even though that guy was a diamond player, and I was losing lane terribly, and we were down a lot. And they got our inhib at, I think Endeavor was playing Darius and got our inhib at like 15 minutes, and we just sent Vayne top to farm supers and stalled a little bit and came back and eventually started winning team fights, and we won the game because we had a scaling comp. But most people don't care about that because they just want to play for lane. And if you don't win your lane, like you're saying about the ego thing, Ponderous, if you don't win lane, like, oh, might as well not even play the game out because it's
Well,
not
and then
fun
if you
anymore.
do win lane, you're like, I even won lane in this dipshit, and then that gives you
Win
a
lane,
reason
lose
to quit.
game.
Oh, blah blah
Crazy how
blah.
that happens.
And by the way,
That
the
might
word
ironically.
Playing Quinn.
the word diff drives me insane now because nobody ever says support diff. It just nobody ever says it.
They
I've
say
never
bot
gotten
diff.
support diff.
Yeah, bot diff I've seen, but like
People say it to me a lot, actually.
so but I mean I've seen that and I'm like, okay, whatever, that's fine. But like that phrase it's just so easy to throw shade at literally everybody else.
I do say top diff if I shit on lane and then lose. I will always say top diff in that case.
Yeah, okay, if you're losing and you're saying it ironically, I have less of a problem. I'm saying
It
if
sounds
it's like
really, really salty if you say it that way,
it's
though.
I mean,
Ponderous.
it is salty
it
because
is
yeah.
salty.
you're losing
He's-
to a worse player. It is
I mean,
salty.
to
At
me,
least
I
it's
say it if I
salty.
lose lane really hard, if I get stomped and then we win, like I say support diff.
I mean,
And,
to me, it's like the GG easy of like of a
2020?
position.
in a
Yeah,
50-minute game, you get the
like-
GG easy.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like,
Classic.
Yeah.
oh yeah,
Easiest game of
GG,
life.
GG
Didn't even have to
easy
try that hard.
top is, and instead of saying that, you say top diff, like
Yeah.
or whatever, like or mid diff or like fuck you guys, like.
It's always jungle diff.
Why do you always, and it's always someone else pointing out the difference in their shitty teammate. And I'm like, what's the point? You've already lost the game. Why are you flaming this asshole?
It makes me feel better.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
I'm going to get that guy in my next game.
I like
And that's the
Jinso's
problem.
like he's the biggest flamer.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
he's Well, I don't know. I don't know which one of you flames more. I mean, between the three of us, we all know who it is, but I don't know between you two who it is.
Wait, you think I flame people?
No, I'm saying neither of you flames
Oh,
people.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. I guess
I'm
like I
pretty
do say things
level-headed
like
for the most
I do
part.
try to piss people off sometimes. Like if like if I lose lane real hard and then we start coming back because our top laner's fed, I'll say like GG easy and stuff. But I always think that like hopefully the other team will understand that I'm not serious on this, but they never do because it's through text and they think I'm like some edgy 13-year-old, and I'm
Yeah,
yeah.
like I honestly thought I carried, whatever, even though you're
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
oh, and
and they're always like,
whatever.
"No, oh man, like we shit on you in lane." And
I
it's
did
like,
the
yeah, I
reverse
know,
of
like I played terribly, but yeah,
I did the reverse of that a few games ago. I was playing
nice.
just a normal, and I was playing Fiora into this Nasus player, and he went Ignite Nasus,
Nice.
and I
Lots of
just
kill pressure that lane.
shit on him. Like it was not fucking close.
But you
I
cut your
was
healing in half. How did you beat him so bad? He can wither you. And
and then like but all game like I would get my jungler to gank him. And by the way, this guy died to every gank. Like he's one of those people that will complain about being camped, but that dies to every single time that somebody walks into their lane, you
2
know?
ward score at 30 minutes.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
like to me getting when you complain about being camped, it's when they'll like run in and do like 20% of your health and then walk away, and then you start
Oh,
playing
wait.
it and they walk in and they do 20% of your health and burn your flesh, and then they leave, and then they come back and they walk in and do 20% of your health again, and that's when you're getting camped, you know?
Okay, so real quick, I do want to talk about this too, because it's like we got to wrap up because we're at like an hour 20 or something. But
Sure.
Nice.
the one thing I was saying, Platt, that is this is why you're not winning, is you're not adjusting what you're doing to your opponent. Ponderous,
true.
how many people took bone plating into your Tryndamere?
Oh my god, it's become a game where uh Blake and I will see like, or mostly it's me, but we'll see if anybody takes a resolve tree into my Tryndamere or not. And I'd say like even like that. What was that Garen player? This is a while ago. This is like maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. But we were playing against this Garen in lower platinum, or I was laning against this Garen in lower platinum,
Yeah, I
and
remember this
I'm
game.
shitting on him. Like, first of all, he went Conquer and secondary either domination or sorcery. So
What?
no defense basically
Yeah.
whatsoever. As Garen into Tryndamere, which is not a bad lane for Tryndamere. You can totally win that, especially if they don't take any resolve. Like he needs grasp in that matchup 100%. If he wants any chance of winning, you need grasp. Uh, he doesn't take it. He takes Conqueror. He rushes Zerker Greaves, and then like double longsword. And all the while, I'm just beating his face in, like killing him on repeat as he comes back to lane. And in the post game screen, he's like talking shit on someone in his team, and I'm like, dude, you need to take resolve against Tryndamere, or you'll lose every fucking time you play against Tryndamere. His exact words, and I'm not bullshitting. I don't adapt versus Tryndamere.
Just Tryndamere. Not
Just
every other
that's what,
champion he adapts really
that's
well.
what he said.
That's
And it's like
actually verbatim what he said.
that's verbatim what he said. Those words came out of his fingers
Maybe he
into
was
the
like,
keyboard.
maybe he's like, I should adapt to
I
Tryndamere,
found
but
the
I don't.
guy.
Maybe it was like a self-reflection kind of moment.
I don't think it was like that.
I think it was, man. Let's assume the best, Ponderous.
You didn't play that game. I did. You can assume
Yeah,
the worst with
Ponderous.
this guy.
I found the guy.
Okay, yeah.
And
Let's say his summoner name on the podcast.
okay,
so we can
sure.
dox him.
Yeah, sure. His name is the Dang Low.
Oh yeah, that guy. Good
Okay.
times.
And yeah, so the Dang Low had
Did you find the game in question?
Yeah, I found the game. In that game, Ponderous went 7-0.
Yep.
The game did not go very long, coincidentally. The Garen managed to go, let's see, 2-5-0 with virtually no damage to champions,
What was his
and
build?
his CS was 98.
At
And yeah, to
at what time?
Ponderous's 153.
Okay, yeah.
So
What was his build? What was his build?
his build was refillable potion that was never upgraded, Stinger, Berserker Greaves. He did eventually build a Bramble Vest.
Okay,
Wow.
that was not his first item.
No,
he
it
built
was
the
not.
Stinger before the Bramble Vest. I
Yes, he
remember
You
did.
need
that.
it so you spin faster.
Ruby Crystal and Doran Shield.
That is the most like. It's so sad. And like I'll play against Fiora players. Fiora is a shitty matchup for Tryndamere, by the way. If you play Fiora, you should win that matchup almost every game. But they all take Conqueror with Sorcery, and I take Grasp as Tryndamere, and I beat every Fiora because I take Grasp, and they don't take any defensive things at all. And like Tryndamere can just run you over. And these are the same people who will permaban Tryndamere after they lose to him one time when they didn't take any defensive runes at all or a defensive setup. And they're surprised when Tryndamere builds up a full Fury bar and then spins into them and kills them.
Maybe they're
You
just
know?
not a beta like you, Ponderous.
That's true.
Taking Resolve Tree.
I know. Taking Resolve Tree so that you can win lane.
You
It's
might
so
as well
alpha
just
to just
surrender
lose.
now.
You have to be
yeah.
an alpha male and
You have to
take
be an-
only Conqueror every game. Conqueror Ignite on every champ.
Yeah. It's so like it's so dumb. And they won't learn from it and they'll just say like I don't know. It's dumb. It's really dumb that they do that shit and they will fucking be bad forever. But anyways, let me just real quick, we can just bookend this with that Nasus that I laned against. He would complain about getting ganked, and I would say it's because you're better than me. Need I need help to beat you, and
You
like
type
I would
that
say
every
that
game,
every
though.
time. Huh?
You type that every game.
I
to
don't
every
type
person
it.
you
I
play.
say it.
You
He
literally.
says
oh,
it
that's true.
constantly.
I say
All
it
the
It's just-
fucking
sarcastically.
She's
time.
better than me.
No,
She's
but
better than me.
I say that when they get ganked repeatedly and then I die to them. But I was the one getting ganked because I was not putting myself in a place where he could get ganked because he's playing Nasus and his jungler was doing nothing that game. So it's like I would get ganks, he would die, and then I would teleport bot and get 2 kills, and then that was just how the game was going. And so I did the reverse of top diff, just like you're better than me. That's why I need all the help, and it was pretty funny. Anyways, kind of got
So,
irrelevant at this point, but
all that said, guys, like the nexus of all this is nothing that we said that stops you from climbing is something that's external to you. It's all you that are the nexus of all those things that prevent you from climbing. If you have a bad mental, you won't climb. If you get stuck in a mentality, it creates a problem where you won't climb. If you don't do the fundamental things that are basic on the map early on, later on, if you're not paying attention to how to fight a team fight or how to do or receive a gank, like that's a major issue in Platinum. I don't know how many times I've seen people just just completely fuck up how to execute a gank on like there's like a low health target without flash and they'll go on the high health target with flash.
Yep.
Or it's like,
classic.
or whatever, and you just go like, what the fuck are you
Or they're
doing?
AFK while level 1 fights are happening. That's
Under
always
their
a fun
tower.
one.
hmm So I mean, like these are all things that like you fuck up, and the biggest problem that people have, especially in Plat, is that they look at the result and then they go, "Huh, you guys fail. You guys all suck. I get to protect my ego." Right?
Yeah.
And it's
Well,
like,
just because
no,
something doesn't work doesn't mean it was a bad idea. That's like the whole
the whole
kind of thing
crux
of it.
here.
Yeah. Like
And
if a Baron call doesn't work because your jungler goes over the wall or something to try to kill someone and then you get it stolen, people are like, "Oh, see, it was a bad Baron call," and it's like, no, it wasn't a bad call. It was a bad execution of a good
Yeah.
call. You know,
and like
that
those
happens all
things
the time. There's
have
no
to be
separation at
separated.
all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those things have to be separated, or it just doesn't. And so, I mean, and then the other thing is like, if you commit to not doing shit with or for your team because you think the game is lost, like, you don't have a validation by saying, see, this all
Yeah.
sucked, this all happened because you
Oh yeah,
made that happen.
people give up at like 10 minutes, and then because they give up, the game is now genuinely unwinnable. And then the game gets lost, and they're like, "See, I told you it was unwinnable." And it's like that's called a self-fulfilling prophecy. You made the game unwinnable. It
You
was not
AFK'd
unwinnable.
for 20 minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like,
Yeah.
Because, like,
see, if I don't even play, there's no way you guys can win.
Idiots.
there was literally, and then
But
the
people would
other
rather
guys.
be right than win.
Yeah, they'd
which
rather be right
I
than win.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm with them.
which I have a lot of faults when I play this game, but that's not one of them because I fucking want to win more than anything in my goddamn life.
I would
Because I
100% rather be right than win.
yes,
I don't give a
of
shit.
course you would.
To
I
me, it's like I would rather
It's because
W
you
or
win every
L.
argument anyways, Blake. You're a lawyer. It's not fair.
Yeah, I know. I get to do that so much privately
Oh,
that whenever I go into my
hate
home
it.
life, it doesn't really matter. You know. But I mean, fuck, man. Like, I wish that you've made a commitment. You made a commitment to play a game for at least 45 minutes. Like, do what you can to
Well, what
win
I
that
don't
fucking
understand is that
game.
like sometimes we get like genuinely good players on our team,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm curious like what where the gap comes from. You know, like some of the ADCs you've gotten have actually been really good.
Mm-hmm.
So like I don't understand how they're in the same rank as like some of these other players that are terrible. You know, doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, I mean, bad win streaks and bad loss streaks even happen to good players.
I
Like
mean, sure.
that'll happen. Like shit, I lost 18 in a row. That shit happens. You just have to play the games to recover.
Yeah.
But like the reality of it is, a lot of the times, and it may be that they have the same problem that I do, which is, okay, I'm really good at ADC, but in order to actually win the shit that we're supposed to do, I have to be on the same page with my support, a person that I can't communicate with
Yeah.
implicitly. You have to be on the same page. Well, okay. You know, good luck, friend.
Yeah. I don't know how you do that.
It's hard
Like, I don't know why you do that to yourself.
because I'm like sunk cost probably. I mean, is a
Yes.
lot of it like because it's like everything that I've ever done in this game has
Next
been
season,
support.
Blake is learning a new role.
That's what I've
Hundred
been
percent.
told. Yeah.
100%.
Is it gonna be
So
Katarina mid?
it might. I don't know.
Nice.
Like I enjoy Katarina, man. I don't think I have the mechanics to pull her off to the
Just play Nautilus
degree
mid.
required.
You
Like
say Nautilus
honestly,
mid?
I
Yeah,
could
yeah,
play
Nautilus mid.
Fizz mid. Fizz is like Diet Katarina and
Yeah.
easier and just as troll. So that's something that fits well with me. Like I can hit people with a fish. I can do that.
I can't.
So
You can't,
all right,
Gensos?
I'm
I
gonna
mean,
wrap
like
this
if
thing
they're
up.
stunned, maybe.
We are at an hour from after when Jinso's disconnected earlier, so we're gonna wrap this thing up.
Fair enough.
So thank you if you are still listening to the podcast. I'm sorry if you took so long. But hey, people listen to us while they mow lawns and work out and shit, and now you should be like ripped.
Yeah. And your lawn
So
should be really short.
yeah, you should have you should be
Extra
Your
mowing
short.
lawn
dirt.
should look like the top of Blake's
Yeah.
head by this
It
point.
should not look like Michael's floofy ass scalp. So,
Mm.
that will be fine. But anyway, thank you for listening. Thank you for sticking with us. Patreons, thank you for supporting us. We have somehow managed to like fall off of 15 boosts. So if anybody's got their wallet out, please boost the server because we use that shit to stream a lot. So, and it's kind of our community hub. I would like it to actually be at least level 2. That would be lovely. Thank you, Patreon supporters, for your support. I should pull up a Patreon. Do you guys have any announcements or anything you want to cover?
Um, I lost my diamond promos 2 to 3.
Oh yeah, that was rough.
That's my announcement.
I had
My
something to do with that.
my announcement, we're buying a bunch of stuff for the esports program at middle school that I teach at, and if you guys have any hookups with peripherals or like we're really just looking for keyboard, mouse, whatever they're called, and
Meeslings.
Mises.
Meeslings.
That's what.
Yeah, and especially gaming chairs. If you have any hookups on those, or if you just know people that can get us to them discounted. We're trying to pay money for them, so we're not trying to give them free unless you want to give them to us. But
Yeah.
we'll put your face on a banner in the arena.
So I have a quick question. Have you guys tried calling like Secret Labs customer service or community outreach or something? See if they would.
That's the next step. We just purchased all the PCs. We got the grant a couple weeks ago, and we bought the consoles. We're gonna do like a club as well as the esports program, and we're buying all the towers through the like district's catalog. when our IT guys started the program, the esports program at a college around here. So he has like knows what the deal is, knows what to get. So I'm kind of pumped. We're getting some with like 2080s in them, and we're getting nice towers and all that. But we just started the process of purchasing. So I'm gonna call up them. I'm gonna reach out to some like esports organizations and just like see what we can get. But Secret
Cool.
Lab, they give a lot of stuff away for free. I feel like.
Well, like I
So
got a bunch of coupons that they sent me for buying this chair.
nice.
So, and it's a very comfortable chair, I will
Yeah.
say. Like,
If we
I
got
don't.
Secret Labs, it'll be sick.
Yeah, no, they're. And I mean,
Yeah.
but see, I don't think you're buying like. I don't think it is the world's most comfortable chair that I've ever purchased. It is marginally better
Yeah.
than the off-brand chair I bought, which was like a Von Racer or something. For like my
An
office.
XD racer.
Blake Von Racer.
Like Von Racer chair. It is un best chair.
It's a
Anyway.
Yeah, it's about creating hype is what we're doing. So like if we can get RGB stuff, if we can get like it's not going to do anything for the actual program, like it's not going to make kids play better obviously, but if kids come in and they see that, it's like, "Oh, sick. We have this stuff. It's being taken seriously." And there's going to be more buy-in, which is what
Right.
we're trying to do a lot of social emotional stuff with kids and like how to not be jerks online and like, how to like be active and not like get fat by playing
If,
video games and
if
stuff
you
like
ever
that.
need me
So
to do a seminar on positivity,
yeah. I
just
was
let me
thinking
know.
we could Skype you in.
You're
Yeah,
But
really.
yeah, that's another thing. If you are connected to the esports community and you're not Ponderous or Astros, then
don't
we
lump
would
me in with
love
Astros.
we would love to have you like come in and Skype in and stuff. So just shoot me a message and like we can't have everybody do it. Uh, so don't be offended if I say no. But if you have like connections with stuff, then let me know. That'd be awesome.
Okay, so I'm desperately trying to log into the Patreon so I can look at our like supporter list.
I can keep talking if you want.
But no, what it's trying to do is make me email verify, right?
Classic.
And I'm like,
Nice.
okay, whatever, that's fine. I was like, I'll try to email verify or whatever. And it's not sending the email. And I'm like, well, that's annoying. And then it's like, hey, if it doesn't send the email after a few minutes of Jinso's talking, try to log in again. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I try to log in again. And then it's like, did the email still not come? Check your spam. And so I go into my spam, and it's like all from like porn sites and weird stuff, right? And so it's like, but they're using the podcast name to try to
Oh,
seduce me.
that happened to me. I talked about that in League of Legends Radio one time.
Yeah.
I got a message on because this was back when people used Skype. I got a message from like a porn bot, and it said "Hi League," like that was how because I was League of Legends Radio on Skype, and I did like a whole bit about that on my podcast. And
Yeah, this is like, hey, LOL Anonymous podcast, we'll make you sexually tick. And I'm like, what does that even mean? Like,
Oh, you gotta
that
email
sounds
them
like
to
it was
find out.
written by a
better-
non-native English speaker.
better click here, sexually explicit LOL Anonymous podcast. I'm like, I don't remember recording that episode. Like, but
I do.
yeah, I still
It's
can't.
okay.
It's not even caught in the spam. They just didn't send it. So I guess thank you, all the Patreons. Like, because I can't pick one of you out. And that sucks, because that's what I was trying to do. So let's go. Okay. Thanks this week to Cracked YC. That's somebody who supports us and has the Patreon tag on the Discord. So that means you are a patron, and we appreciate you. And that's as random as I can get right now, because I haven't verified my device. So thanks, guys, for your support. All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Sweet dreams.
Okay.
Perfect.
It is uploading.
By the way, if you have any problems with the files, Blake, they have really good customer support with Squadcast.
Now, usually this isn't a problem.
Yeah, just like
Because,
because I had an
we've
issue
got
recently.
all of them except Jinsos' first one.
Okay.
And I'm just going to hit the generate recording button, and that usually fixes it.
Cool.
It did. They successfully generated.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah, I
so-
didn't know that leaving would cancel things. My bad.
Yeah, it actually stops the recording.
Oh shit.
Not a big deal. I mean, we'll have to splice it together.
Yeah, which happens every week.
Yeah. Yeah, it really does.
Hmm.
All right, so there's Ponder Sea Lion 1. Lola Podcast 1. And here's Gensos 1. Copy share link.
How long total was all that?
Part 2.
I think it was like 25 minutes when you first cut out.
39 minutes and then an hour and 2 minutes.
God.
We went
It's like
to,
leak cast territory.
Yeah, we went long this time.
Whoops.
Yeah. Oops.
I blame you fucks. Actually, I wish I
That was-
would have. I wish I would have put in another 15 minutes on the just talking about what platinum players fuck up part.
Yeah,
Because
I
there's
felt like
so
that went well
much.
though. There's a lot of good stuff there for, most of it was league. I do realize that the banter is always about food whenever I'm on. I mean, legitimately. At one time it was about like having the bone and chicken makes it better, and then one time it was hamburger pizza, and then LaCroix this time.
Hamburger pizza is still a winner.
That was yeah. Was it a winner though?
It is. It is. I had it. I had some like this week. It was so good.
Oh. I thought you meant the hamburger pizza podcast.
Oh
we
no,
still
that was a
streaming,
good one too.
by the
Yeah,
way?
we always still stream this shit. We
Oh,
talk
okay.
for a little while after, and then we shut it
Yeah.
down.
I need to
But-
shit talk, so I need to know if the stream is live.
I think
Oh, you wanna
Astro
join-
is
All the
there.
listeners.
You want to join Discord instead?
Yeah, let's just. I'm gonna just shut the stream down anyway because I think we're done here.
Yeah, I'm gonna queue with those guys, so I'm gonna hop out.
All right.
All right.